Hello, and welcome back to another video. And today, we'll be looking at an emergency hybrid. Now, safe to say, I believe I've cracked immortality. Yes, you heard me correct. I do in fact believe I have cracked the secret to at least biological immortality, which literally translates to the thing I just put on the screen. Anyway, now the creature that this is basically been carried out by is Aspidoi. Let's just call it the Aspido. I do not know what I was on when I made that name. Holy moly. Wait. I'm gonna cut out all that. Eternos. Now, before we start, please like, subscribe, and comment how y'all feel about the Eternos. Let's get straight into it. First off, for main genome, we have the Galapagos tortoise. Not actually that, never mind. It's actually axolotl. For main structure, means more so an amphibian, which also applies for basically regeneration as well. And measurements of this creature, before I forget, is height of 2.25 feet, length of 6.75 feet, weight of 501.2 pounds, and a width of 2.53 feet. So, about the size of a average male Galapagos tortoise, which the size of the creature has been in fact made from the Galapagos tortoise, as well as the shell, and it's basically hydraulic press of a freaking mouth. Now, we also have evergreen tree, not so much as a tardigrade level of living in extremes, but basically loosening the boundaries of where it can live. We also have immortal jellyfish for its stinging stuff, like all along the edge of the shell, as well as its tail, as its fin on the tail, and its sensor stuff. We also have African vulture for strengthening of the beak, strengthening of the immune system, as well as basically making it a scavenger now. So it will, in fact, if it needs to, go through carcasses. Now, for its defenses, we obviously have vice grip, or basically hydraulic press levels of biting. This thing can in fact swim, and it is fairly decent at it. We also have an extremely tough shell, which it uses to basically protect from things. And we also have the immortal jellyfish tentacles to basically do damage to enemy attackers. Now, let's get on to the lifespan. Now, the lifespan, this is more interesting. The lifespan of this creature, because, first off, with axolotl, which its regeneration already causes quite a lot of long life as is. Now, add immortal jellyfish to that. Now we basically have a creature that can extend its lifespan as well as restart it. So now, due to the immortal jellyfish's power to basically restart its decaying cells, basically means that it just gets reborn. Sort of like the phoenix, except not exactly. We add Galapagos tortoise onto it, which has a lifespan of around 100 years. That, plus the whole axolotl deal, basically extends that even further. So it's basically one of this thing's lifespans is around 400 years. And this is just repeated basically an infinite amount of times. However, it can in fact still be killed. Now, this is what it is called to be biologically immortal. Now, an immortal apparently means you can't die, period. Biologically immortal, which I think is the actual immortality, whatever, is to where you have a indefinite lifespan, however, you are not invulnerable to damage. Now, we also keep it alive further because of the immune system of the vulture. Because one of the main killers of anything in wild is diseases and bacteria. Now, we basically eliminate that, basically has a longer life. Now, what this entails, why I think I've cracked immortality, is that, say if you take Eternos, which is the name of the creature that is, the specimen that I study, and you take him and about 100 other of his species, put them in the wild, leave them there for, I don't know, a couple generations or so, then go back and take the absolute peak of that generation and basically extract a genetic sample out of that. Then you basically have raw material, because this is its own animal now, because of natural selection, breeding, all sorts of stuff, all sorts of factors. Now you have its own genetic contributor. That could then be added into other things to extend its lifespan and to basically make it more so biologically immortal. Then, after that hybrid, you then do the same exact process. And this can be done over and over and over again until you get a biologically immortal creature that is foolproof. Absolutely. Most of what I do on this channel isn't actually meant to be taken seriously. This is. Because if you think about it, there is no reason to believe that immortality comes from any sort of ridiculous beverage of sorts. Like the brain juices or whatnot that weirdos decided was a good idea for immortality back in there. That didn't work. And we all know the Fountain of Youth doesn't exist. There is no Philosopher's Stone. There is nothing outside of nature itself that can grant immortality. We already see a primitive form of immortality in nature already, in the form of the immortal jellyfish. Now, because with enough technology, because obviously we don't have the technology to do this stuff, we could theoretically make a creature become biologically immortal, basically without death. There is no end of its lifespan. In fact, Eternos, if he was kept in captivity with the right conditions, he would outlive the entire place. But it gets to a point, after all of that, after those thousands of years, because it would basically take thousands of years before we would get an accurate immortal creature. That right there is when you can do basically more. Because you can solve diseases, you can solve hunger issues, you can solve so many different problems. Immortality and nature is key. And you cannot have immortality without first getting help from animals. It's honestly pretty beautiful, honestly. It's a human... Immortality is basically... a human construct. However, we can't do it by ourselves. It's actually pretty freaking cool. But yeah. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. And as promised, here's a picture of Eternos. Yeah, just soaking up all that beauty. The eternal grace. Also, the name Eternos. Did I say that right? Yeah. God bless, I'm so weird at this. Anyway, but other than that, literally means shell eternal, or shield eternal, which honestly is pretty freaking accurate, considering it has a shell. Never mind. Anyway, that'll be it for today. I will see y'all I will catch y'all on the flip side. Bye!